So, yes, people, let's begin. So, I'm so excited to introduce our guest for today. So, in the last few days, we have seen a lot of people. This is our eighth interview in the series, and we have all the interviews which have happened in the past. We have seen people from various profiles and such an interesting profiles we have visited. But I'm so excited to introduce you today's guest. Actually, there's a small write-up I want to read out so that I don't miss out anything. And it's so inspirational, even when I'm reading it. Okay. So, okay, let us get straight into it. A young change maker who was homeschooled in the traditional Gurukulam way of education, now a passionate content developer and educator, she has dedicated herself to guiding children and parents on this unique path, parent like me, with several successful workshops under her belt, including a recent one in Malaysia. We're going to talk about that. She's transforming the way we think about learning. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's guest, Ms. Raiva Rohini, who is also known as curriculum developer and EduPreneur. That's an interesting word there. Of course, the word itself is self-explanatory, but I would want to hear from her what does this mean. So welcome, Raiva. Welcome to this interactive session where I'm going to ask some questions. There are a lot of people who have joined who would want to know what you're doing. I'll start off with this. What do you mean by edupreneur?
Jump into that, Shariji, but I have to mention this is my first ever interview, and it I'm so happy it's you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to
Thank
start
you.
with that. And yeah, edupreneur is a word which comes from education and entrepreneur. So I'm an entrepreneur in the educational field, hence the tag edupreneur.
Oh, that sounds so interesting. And no one would ever thought, would have thought about this thing because see, education is something we think that it is given in the platter to us. See, people come from my generation, from the early 80s, who were born in the 80s era. We never thought about this. Edupreneur, it can never be. So, 40 years ago, this word would have never probably imagined by anyone. Now we are here. I am hearing this word. I am surprised, shocked. There may be many people here in the panel who would also probably would have predicted it, but would have been shocked. So, I mean, what does that really mean? Do you mean that you are redefining the education itself? What exists?
So edupreneur, the term itself, like you said, it's relatively new.
Yeah.
It's I'm not the I won't say I'm the only one, but uh, entrepreneurs who work in the educational field, either be it edtech, which is educational technology, or starting up NGOs, they also can call themselves edupreneurs. So an edupreneur is someone not just who's running a school, running a franchisee, but also doing other things in the field of education. Me specifically, when I say edupreneur, I run organizations or I lead teams that work on content creation and curriculum development on the basis of the Gurukulam systems of Bharata. So,
Wow.
reviving Gurukulams for today's day and age, specifically through play learning, is what I am doing in the field of education.
So, Raiva, tell me one thing. What's your age? I mean, it's a little personal, but you can give me a ballpark figure in that.
That's completely okay. I'm 21 right now.
And you have
I'm
already
21.
started?
This interview actually made me realize I've been working for 10 years.
Oh my
So it
goodness, you
was
started when?
when I was 11.
Wow,
This
11
I didn't
years.
think of it. I never kept a track of it. But while preparing for this interview is when I realized that it's been 10 years. And this year marks the 10th year.
Wow. That's nice to hear and so inspiring and at the same time very, very astonishing too because see people from my age or my generation, there will be many who were there who would resonate with this that you do your bachelor, you do your schooling first, okay? It's not about what you have done. You do a schooling 12th and then you by the time you are already 15, 16, then you go to bachelor's by the time you are 20. And then nowadays with bachelor, you don't get anything. So you go to post graduation. By the time you start actually working or doing any entrepreneurship, anything in that area, you're already, 27, 28-ish. And you've already 11 years of experience. Oh my God. That's
Well,
so
I think
amazing to
if I
hear.
just share a little bit of my journey, because
Yes, I
my
would like
working
to.
journey, yeah, my working journey merges a lot with my educational journey.
Hmm.
So I have been homeschooled. That means I've never been to school. Even pre-KG, UKG, I've been at home. And specifically through the Gurukulam way. So my mom was not just homeschooling me, but she had the guidance and the backdrop of Gurukulam system of education to homeschool me based upon. So me and my brother is my soulmate. He's the one, he's been my classmate, my batchmate, my brother, my sibling, and my inspiration, everything. So we both were together, learning together, growing together. And on this mission, my mother is a curriculum developer and a content creator. And she was doing her work alongside, she was also doing her work on Gurukulam systems of learning. And eventually, we became a group, not just one family, which is me and my brother and my mom, but a group of us who was interested in Gurukulam education. Um, and then my batchmate grew. I didn't have one sibling. I had a bunch of Gurukulam siblings, and we were learning and growing together. Alongside, I had so in my journey of homeschooling, everybody has a different learning journey. Especially even a child who's going to, let's say, normal or conventional schooling has a different learning journey. Everybody doesn't learn the same. In that, when you come into unconventional or unconventional learning setups, we all have a very unique learning journey. And mine started with an interest towards arts. So since
Hmm.
childhood, I have been interested in various art forms, starting from mandala. So arrangement and mandalas are symmetrical patterns. It started at around the age of 2. So luckily, my mother knew what these things are, so she could guide me through it. She got me introduced to mandalas at the age of 2 because she saw that I'm picking up interest. And one of the first things that I learned in my Gurukulam journey was the science of mandalas, science of colors and shapes. That was a starting step to, let's say, start for me to work. Because what happened is Gurukulam is also a place where co-mentorship was happening a lot. So my journey as a mentor, as an educator, or as a curriculum developer started when I created these little sessions that I used to do for my junior Gurukulam um, children at that time. So basically, for you, that's Manyu and Prakrit, all of them when they were really young.
Yes.
I was around 12. I started to practice my mandala sciences. I used to create modules under the guidance of my mentors and do it for the children. That is where actually my journey as an educator started. But it was more of co mentoring. So, student mentorship, which is a
Yes.
huge part of Leela Gurukulam even today. Yeah, that's how my journey into curriculum development started, and then it picked up. I love learning, and I love learning different things. I used to get into graphic designing. I used to get into it deeper. I used to learn the entire science and art of graphic designing. Then I got into audio engineering. I did quilling. I did cross stitching. Everything that was art oriented, I had a passion towards. So alongside my Gurukulam classes and my educational journey, preparing for my 10th, 12th, all of that, arts was always going on in the background. As you know, at Leela Gurukulam, board games and plays at the center, that also kind of helped me, get familiarized with different art forms, and game design also was one of the things I was interested in. How are games created? How is play created? So many of these things I was exploring. And what happened was during my Gurukulam journey, um, we were all given a project, which is the me and my brother and our batch of children who have been Gurukulam educated together. We call ourselves Sauparnika. So our batch, we were given a project by our mentors that you all have to pick, just just plan out a business you could do yourself. This was around when we were 14, and we were also asked to take a presentation on the same. So rest of them picked up something very easily. Like Mehul picked up quantum science, Skanda picked up games, education through Minecraft and through blogs is something he picked up, and then Nimisha picked up education through movies. So everybody was very easily able to pick up. I was stuck. I was actually
Hmm.
stuck, and I didn't even, all of them started working on the project, but I didn't get a project in mind for almost 3 months. Not because I didn't have anything to pick, I had too much to pick from.
Too many things to pick.
I didn't know where to go. Like, I was not getting that starting point, and I told my mentor that this is becoming a little difficult. My mentor, who's also my mother, I'm not able to pick one, and just like my heart is not saying okay for anyone. That's when she gave me the guidance of this this aspect called Chaturshashti Kala, or the 64 art forms of in human beings. They are not just 64 art forms, but 64 potential points in a human beings that can be tapped through art. So she was like, if you're anyways into multiple expressions of art, why don't you have an educational project based on this? So then I worked on a curriculum which educates a child through the 64 art forms. I created the plan, I created the presentation. And from there, the journey started. And a lot of what we do at Leela Gurukulam now, Leela Gurukulam, for those of you who don't know, Leela Gurukulam is the organization that I run as an edupreneur, one of the organizations. There, um, the whole Kala Sangama aspect is influenced by this project that I did when I was 14. So there I made a plan. I got deeper into 64, did a research on that. How can this be used to harness learning potential in a child and facilitate learning in a child was the main concept. From there it picked up, and that's when I realized that I'm enjoying doing this. The whole exercise and practice of creating a curriculum to get the best out of a human being was getting the best out of me. So for me, teaching
Wow.
and learning has not been about children need somebody to teach. It's I need somebody to teach because I am being my best when I'm teaching. And for me, teaching more than a classroom environment, it is content creation and curriculum development where more of it was coming out. So two things were happening. By the time I was 14, I was also exploring these different art forms and different technical skills. I started using Canva. I knew audio editing. I knew video editing. I knew how to build books. I knew how to build worksheets. Those skills I was picking up on one side. On the other side, I was actually building curriculum and practicing it with the children at the Gurukulam. So both were happening side by side. Then I did my 10th and 12th also. After that, I picked up psychology to be my academic stream because with my work, I feel psychology really connects. And with the Gurukulam knowledge and background that we were being taught at Saupernika, psychology was easy for me. I could really relate and understand with psychology, so it was not a struggle to take the exams on psychology. And we at Leela Gurukulam or at Saupernika, the final stages of our Gurukulam, which is called Samavartana, when we were going through that, is when those 3 years were intense. Classes were intense. There were days where we used to have 10 days of classes where we were not even in touch with anybody. Our phones were off. All me and my batchmates, we used to be together, go through classes, learn, grow, and all those classes helped me know how much more teaching is important. The whole field of education, why it is so important, those classes also sparked that inspiration in me that this is what I want to do. And those classes were very self knowledge oriented, which is, I feel, for every educator, not just for me as somebody who's a Gurukulam educator, but for every educator and every parent, that really helps. That knowledge really helps to know who a human being is, what a human being is, who is a child. If that basis itself is not there, it's very difficult to decide what should I add in my curriculum. So during throughout my Gurukulam years, everything that I have learned and I have did kind of pointed towards curriculum development. And then when I reached the age of, let's say, 18, I was very clear that this is what I want to do. I had the skills for it, I had the knowledge for it, I had the practice for it, and most importantly, I had the inspiration for it. I felt me every time I get into a classroom and I get an opportunity to take workshops either for parents or children. I don't feel that, okay, now 20 people are going to learn from me. I always feel I have the privilege of learning from 20 people who are in front of me. And I love learning. That's been there. That's why the 64 art forms came. That's why everything that I did in Gurukulam happened. And that's why the work that I do, I wanted to be in the field of education. So, yeah, that is a gist of my journey. So the
It's it
story of how I
you
became a
have
curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah, please go on, go on. I wanted to complete because the kind of bombardment you have just done to people who are from the conventional field of life, and field and those who are educated conventionally, this is a lot of information there. And I would just allow people to just sink in with that information what they have received right now. While they do that, I wanted to actually ask one question which intrigued me. When you say Gurukulam education, what is it? Because see, there are a lot of Gurukuls around. Not, I'm not talking about the traditional Gurukul. I absolutely don't know what that were. What I know is there are a lot of Gurukuls right now in and around India, where you learn shlokas, keep chanting from morning to evening, and by the end of your education, you become Shastris, or you're given that upadhis where then you can go to temples or you can teach Sanskrit, something in those lines. How is it different, whatever you have done?
So that was not the structure of the Gurukulam I have been. And
That's
I'm
what I want to
I
know.
can I can see why you're asking that question, because as we were in our Gurukulam, we got a lot of questions being asked that do you wake up early in the morning? Do you have only one meal a day? So that is not the idea of Gurukulam when I say Gurukulam. Um, so there are various types of Gurukulam. I want to start off with that. First
Yes.
thing, today you see various expressions of a Gurukulam, because Gurukulam is not a building, it's not a structure, it's a system. It's a system of education that was there in ancient times that has changed form according to the time. So at one point of time, it used to happen in ashramas. Then it evolved. It used to happen basically a system that nurtures human beings, and was the educational system was called the Gurukulam. At a point, it used to happen in ashramas. At a point, in temples. After a point, it became Veda Patashalas, like you mentioned, where shlokas and mantra chanting was, let's say, at the center. And it's evolved over time. So there are various forms of Gurukulam. When I
Okay.
say Gurukulam, I don't mean any specific form, I mean purely the system.
System.
So I have been educated on the system of Gurukulam. Based on the system of Gurukulam, my method of education has been through play.
Okay.
So I have been educated not using books or pens or not conventional tools, but purely through play and arts. Play in all the forms of play. Arts being one of them, which I shared during my story. But any form of play, art and drama, board games being the center at Leela Gurukulam, the work that I do, card games, conversations, debates, play, interplay of energy. So any form of play is what I have been educated. That's been the mode of education. The expression of Gurukulam that I have been through has been through play.
Wow. So, see, I've heard, a lot of us have heard that, you learn a lot while you are in that mode of play. Let's say, a picture speaks thousand words. Similarly, a play would enable you to, let's say, absorb a lot of learning. But then I still can't believe it. My mind is, kind of not able to bend across that concept really. That means you don't study the conventional subjects. That means you don't study, let's say, mathematics. Now, today's world is full of engineering and sciences and so many things. Don't study that. So, what is it? Or you are what happens specifically in the Gurukulam? Whether you are made ready to study that easily? What's that? Basically, I'm not able to grasp, that concept.
Yeah, so I'll share about that, not only because you asked, but because you're also a parent.
Yeah.
Um, what happens is, one is the methodology, which could be play now. It could have been chanting, it could have been dancing, it could have been skill development, but that is a method. Another is what content is being delivered through the method.
Hmm.
So the content that's being delivered at the center of Gurukulam education is self-knowledge. And the core of self-knowledge is who is a human being, what is a human being,
Right.
which directly links also with universal knowledge of what is the universe and what's the connection between a human being and the universe. To just give a gist, that's what it
Just.
holds.
Hmm.
I can get deeper into it, but this is really like not the
No, no, no.
appropriate
I
time
just
to
want
get
to
into
know.
it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So what happens is, any child who is really nourished in the Gurukulam system becomes a self-learner
Ah,
through
that's
the
the word.
knowledge through the knowledge of self-knowledge and universal knowledge. We can enable children to become self-learners. If all the activities that we do support um, expanding learning potential, and also giving in the inputs of self knowledge and universal knowledge, so that by the age of 13, a child, by the age of 13 to 18, between that age, a child becomes a self learner, because learning is for life. It doesn't end with formal educational years.
Right.
So, because that's the system I have been through, it helped me. Five of us, it was me and four other who started off at the age of 10. When I was 10, till then it was just me and my brother. Then three other joined, three of my batchmates. Five of us might have started our journey together. We have sat for the same classes, we have done the same things, but all the five of us pick different streams. I am into curriculum psychology full time. I'm also into temple sciences. Equally, Mehul got into quantum science. He could go deep into that, I could go deep into this. And the truth is, if today I get into quantum science, I can still tap into it. And if he gets into psychology, he can still tap into it, because we are now in the place where we can learn anything. The concept
Right.
of learning and cycle of learning has been nourished in us, and we have practiced it without any other interruptions for 10 years. For 10 years, we
Beautiful.
were away from everything else and just focusing on learning, and how learning is done, how learning happens in a human being, and how I can facilitate learning within myself. Now it's easy for us to do it with any subject. So I didn't learn writing till I was 13. I picked up writing when I was 13, and then I wrote my exam when I was 15.
Oh,
It was not difficult, like it was not a challenge. It's something that came in a flow. It happened automatically. As an edupreneur, when I started my private limited, it that 1 year of actually setting up and becoming a director, I learned a lot about legal systems of India, financial systems of India. It was not overburdening, it was not overwhelming, because I knew I don't know it, and I knew I had to learn it, and I was all in for learning it. Because learning that didn't feel like, oh my God, it's like another course which I have to take. Learning in me has become very natural that way. So the entire journey was very smooth. So yeah, that is what helps. When a child becomes a self learner, they can pick up anything. That's why what happened when me and my batchmates, few of my batchmates who were also inspired to take forward the knowledge of Gurukulam, we picked board games for this generation.
yeah.
The
Okay.
needs and wants for this generation are, one, human skills related, then soft skill related. Yes, academics holds a very important place even today. It will hold in future also. But instead of teaching a child a specific academic subject, what if we train them to pick up any academic subject? So that whenever time comes, today, like your child is around 5 years old, Sadhvi is around 5.
Right.
Future, so she will get into a career after 20 years, let's say.
Right.
What will the careers of future look like? We might really not be
Can't
able to
imagine.
predict that. We really might be not able to predict that right now, and we might not be able to tell this is what exactly she'll need to do for that career. But what we can do is make her a self learner, so that whatever she needs to pick up at that time, she'll do it.
Mm.
So that's what I have been trained into. That's what made it easier for me to pick up these different skills and become an entrepreneur or an edupreneur. And I'm still in the learning curve. Like I'm still learning. And for me, I'll be learning throughout my life. That's what the Gurukulam tells, we are born to learn.
Wow.
So when we are trained to learn in a way which harmonizes with our patterns, it's just easier for us to grow in life.
I
So
think
yeah.
it's a very good point you put forth because from childhood, people like me, we have been trained in a particular way. Do this much and you're set. But when you do that, you are not set actually. So then you are again told, do this much more, and then aram, you'll have nothing to do more. So then that aspect of learning is which is already available also, which is being taken away from you step by step, very meticulously it goes off from you. Whereas what I hear from you is the system of education, through not the education, the system which you went through, what you are calling Gurukulam system, it made you a self learner, and this is what it will do to any human being which enters at the right age, probably, that if I'm right. And if he goes rigorously through that system, he will become a self learner. And then you don't look at learning as something which you have to achieve. It just happened naturally. To In my head, there is an animation which is happening. there's a vessel. Let's say you yourself becomes a vessel, and the rain is always there. You just are a vessel. You just take in whatever you want to take. So amazing, amazing. So now, you in your conversation, you mentioned something about my daughter being 5 now, and after 20 years, some kind of profession. I never thought about this really before this point. Now it set me into a thinking mode. Are you guys do really think about the profession of the future? When you started your education journey, were you looking into what profession you will go into after, let's say, 15 years or 20 years? Did you also have those moments?
Started off as such, like when I was 10 years old, I probably wouldn't have thought I'll become a curriculum developer. After, like, I didn't imagine being in this interview with you 10 years ago, introducing myself as a curriculum developer. I think my mother did. She did have an idea. I think she's been very informed and aware that
Hmm.
educating a child today, you are educating them for the future.
Hmm.
And that helps. Like all our parents at the Gurukulam, all of you. As a mentor, I would also want you all to have projections of what the future needs because that is what we are preparing children for.
Wow.
So I think she had clarity that she knew the careers of her time are not going to be the same as the careers of my time. In fact, some of
Yes.
curriculum development right now also, I won't say it is a career that presently you will see a lot. But
Exactly.
definitely in the coming days, it's going to pick up because there is a need for customized learning nowadays, which people are noticing. When diets are becoming customized, when fitness programs are becoming customized, when everything in life, including people's furniture and houses, are becoming customized, the one thing which each child does uniquely needs also to become customized, which is learning and education. So surely in coming days, there will be need of more curriculum developers who can create a customized curriculum for their child, which is a career picking up. And curriculum development right now also with the rise of a lot of learning platforms, right? The need for curriculum developers increases because when we see a end product of a course, we
Right.
see one teacher or one facilitator sitting with 20 children or 20 adults and conducting that course, but a lot of thinking goes behind that.
Hmm.
For a course like the I'll just take you through a quick process of curriculum development. First, what is the course topic and which audience is it for? That has to be assessed whether the topic
Right.
even matches the audience, and then the topic has to be customized for that audience group. Then how to break down that topic, what is the method in which this topic is going to be delivered. Then and the breakdown has to be in line with the audience and the facilitator. Will a facilitator provide this?
Hmm.
The curriculum will also have to match whether facilitators are even trained to talk about this topic. That's how a curriculum is set. Then finally, there is a syllabus to match the curriculum, and then the facilitator picks up the syllabus and executes the syllabus.
Executes it.
So just that one task of curriculum development, it's a huge bucket of
Yes.
things that one individual has to do. And with so many education institutions coming up and people looking more into alternate schooling in coming days and alternative education, the need for curriculum developers will also increase.
Yes. I see that
It is
happening.
a so I'm happy that my mother had the foresight for this. She
Yeah.
she didn't build me with a like I can very happily say I'm doing a career which actually is a future career. None of my
Yeah.
friends are
That's.
in this field. None of my friends are in this field. Nobody thinks of this field as much. It is senior members after reaching somewhere in their career, probably they are looking into curriculum development because they see scope there.
Hmm.
But it is a career which will be needed, especially personalized learning experience designer is something that might come up because everything else is becoming customized. Some
Right.
days people will start realizing that learning also needs customization, and with the number of children facing learning difficulties, that need is becoming even more stronger by the day.
Right. So, see, and when you say that, I was kind of drawing parallels from what is happening in the society today. Just 10 years before, we didn't have something called as OTT, going to the entertainment industry. I'm just drawing parallel with the entertainment industry. We didn't have OTT, no other platforms. You used to watch TV, common screen and remote and fight for remote, all the other things. But we used to watch TV and the content was something which you are watching based on what is available. Slowly came the era of watching the customized content, what you are mentioning here. And this change is not slow. It happened in a ziffy. So now I see what you're telling right now is a very transitory phase, probably. And it may just, that one switch. We are just waiting for the switch where everyone would want to have customized education or a customized content for learning. That's a very beautiful point you bring, Raiva. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for
So
sharing
just to
that.
just to add on to your point, with the number of
Right.
people becoming homeschoolers, right? I have spoken to many homeschoolers. There,
Mhm.
many of them they don't know what to do or where to start. So that is also a very growing space where they will need guidance.
Yes.
Unstructured homeschooling is also not as great as conventional schooling. Everything, see, all
Oh,
the spaces has, even a school needs a structure, even a parent needs a structure. So if when it comes to education, a curriculum developer is the one who's providing that structure.
absolutely. Because
And
it's not there.
it's not there, and it's important to have that structure also very flexible because each child
Hmm.
is unique.
Unique.
So the structure should be made in a way where it can hold any child. Any child will be able to express themselves in that structure. So more
Yes.
curriculum developers with the background of what a human being is and understanding human structure and development will be needed. So I personally
Absolutely.
hope that there are more people who also start working in the same field. And there are many people already doing great work when as being here connecting to people who are also working in right now unconventional education are all trying to do that. They are trying to
Right.
build systems and structures that can help facilitate learning in different types of children and to cater to all types of children.
Right. Right. That's such a wonderful point. And at this point, I will just invite any of the people who are attending to, if you have any question to ask, can please put it in the chat box, or you would want to ask, direct. You can unmute yourself and ask too. Yes. I also wanted to ask you one thing, Raiva. Like you talk about future careers. So let's say, I mean, like how your mother did, you have been educated by her, with a strong connection and with a proper system in place. Do you also see, like how she had a foresight? Do you also right now have a foresight of a scenario 15 years from now, with the future careers taking shape, or they have already started? I mean, can you give a small gist of it?
We do. No, we, when I say we, the entire team, me and my team, as mentors, we feel it's our responsibility to be aware of that because that's what we are building the children for. So roughly, yeah. One common streak. See, AI is here. We all can see it every day.
Yeah.
How AI is evolving, how it's taking up jobs of what people were doing, and technology. The rate at which technology is advancing is I think at its peak as compared to any other time it would
Yes.
have any other time.
Right.
So one thing is probably from whatever we understand now, looking at, and these are just predictions, these are not even hard facts, but we can see the trend, we can see where things are going just by looking at the predictions. AI and technology might replace technical jobs and
Mm.
labor. It cannot replace human based jobs because at the end of the day it's a person who has to operate a system.
Mm.
Even if there is a machine, you need a person to operate it or you need a person to make it automatic,
Right.
and that requires a human being to have basic knowledge about human skills.
Mm.
And when I say human skills, it covers soft skills and it also covers understanding human needs and want, understanding how human beings operate. Because those, based on those itself, we create new systems and structures.
Right.
So, as of now, the research that me and my team have done, And what it looks like is the future careers look very different from the careers of today. Like the ones that I mentioned, AI integrated curriculum developer is one of the predicted future careers, which is something that I'm currently doing. Then
Oh, so
personalized
this is
learning
not future.
expert.
You're already there. Oh
It's
my God.
Yes, but it might be recognized as a more recognizable career if in the next
Mainstream
20
career.
years. In
Right,
like a mainstream career, yeah.
right, right. Yes.
And yeah, many of those careers that we look at in the future, right? If you look at what skill sets a child will need for that, it really is pointing, a huge part of it is pointing towards human skills and soft skills and basic human knowledge, like knowing what are humanities, everything that
Hmm.
falls under humanities, learning culture, building identity, having thinking skills, having reasoning skills, understanding how people make decisions. It will have a huge part of that.
Yes.
Academics, like always, holding its place, but probably the shift is going to be more towards soft skills than academic skills. Academics
Hmm.
has to support the soft skills. It can't be the other way around.
Hmm. Hmm.
Academics and technical skills will support the human skills and the humanitarian knowledge. That's what we see now. And as an educator, it is important for me to know that, because that's what we are building our children for. I can't train Sadhvi or train children thinking of what is there today. We have to train them
Right.
for tomorrow.
Wow. So
I think
even
there's
now
something
when
on
we have,
chat.
yeah, there's a
Shalaji,
question
see.
by Anitji. Anitji says that thanks for sharing, Raiva. What resonated a lot was the flexibility that customizes as per the needs, skills, talents of the child. Yeah, again, I like that part very much. So the question here is, as a continuous learner, what are the areas that interests you to learn next about?
Really, right now, want to get deeper into temple sciences. That is one stream. Personally, I'm also, as a skill, I'm also catching on to interior design. If not, if you would have asked me, Sharaji, if not for education or curriculum developer, I would have chosen architecture in interiors, because I feel what I'm doing with in interiors and architecture, you're building a plan to build a house, but in curriculum, you're doing the same for the human mind. So I
Yeah.
feel both of them really correlate. So that is something that I'm interested to explore more. And to improve my knowledge as an educator, I really want to get deeper into learning of developmental stages of human being post childhood.
Okay.
So the knowledge of development, which we call sanskaras, as per
Hmm.
Gurukulam system, till the age of Samavartana, which is still graduation, I am quite aware of and I'm using it in my daily life, so that I get informed of quite a lot. I have to keep myself updated with that and keep learning about that day to day. Something I'm interested now is how adult learning happens. I want to get deeper into that, because that is
Okay.
somewhere I know I'm going next, considering myself to be an adult now. So what are the learning milestones? And adult covers how does a human adult mind develops. I want to learn deeper. I want to get deeper into it.
I hope that answers Anitji's question here. I'm going back to, yeah, thank you, Anitji. Thank you for that response and reaction. I wanted to go back one step, Raiva, here. You mentioned about future careers and peaking from where we stand right now, peaking into the future career. I wanted to ask you the important and the billion-dollar question. What about salaries? Do you see anything in that sphere happening? The salary part of it. Will we be get paid? Let's say I'm a child now and I'm looking at 15 years from now. I am, let's say, some future career. How about anything to do that? Anything about salaries you can discuss?
I'll give an example of being a curriculum developer today. Today, as a curriculum developer, if I was not an entrepreneur, if I was not running my own institution, and if
Right,
I was, let's say, applying as a job for curriculum development, um, the packages can range anywhere for somebody who's stepping in new without experience, just graduated. The package could be 3 lakhs per annum to 5 lakhs per annum. That's the starting stone almost.
right,
But as with experience, with the requirement of work, the previously work projects, after, somebody who's more polished in this business, they could earn up to 30 to 60 lakhs per year. That's the state today. Today,
wow,
with what, like, even considering it as a career that is not that mainstream, that's what in India. In India, that's where it is. As of now, as per my research, I am an entrepreneur. So my stream is completely different when you think about salaries, but that's the state in India. I think if we look in foreign countries, it might be more. There are opportunities in abroad also to work as a curriculum developer. The minute I joined LinkedIn, I got to know that my career is people do look for curriculum developers because I keep getting those messages. But yeah, that's the stage of it today. And I think it's a very important question, Sharaji, because not just future today, that's the state. Today, if
Right.
this is the demand and the need, it is going to grow in the future. So yeah. I think anybody, if I'm finding life in curriculum development, I should also find my livelihood. So in all the future careers, if somebody is really finding their calling over there, they will also find their livelihood there. I
Wow.
truly believe that. And I feel we are getting into a world which is more contributive and more creative.
Right.
So I'm really not sure whether the economic state that we have today, whether it will be the same 20 years from now. So I think we have to really see with time what happens. But I feel everybody
Yes.
will have their, it will have its own downfalls and downsides, but I think there'll be advantages and more growth than what we have today
But I
with
think
all the future
everyone,
careers.
right, every one
Yeah.
of us have to, think about it. At some point in time, we'll have to think about it really seriously, because see, what I realize when talking to you is it's not the skills. See, today I can say that, oh, making an app is a skill, but then tomorrow, not even tomorrow, even today, I just give the prompt to an AI. AI can make the scripting and everything for you, and an app is ready. So, what are the skills really? Skills is not mattering at all now. If I focus on the skill, I am scared. Oh my God, what do I equip myself with? Kya karu? There are n number of skills there. So it's not about that. Coming back to the basics again, the basics is what you said is it's the, enabling oneself to learn anything which you're exposed to, or what is the need of the hour for you in any given moment. That's an important point there, which I am getting to learn from this interview. Another thing I wanted to ask you, you
Shalaji,
said
just one
about,
thing.
yes,
I just want to give an example with what you just said,
yes, please.
like making an app. Now,
Yes,
probably AI can, if you give it a prompt, it will make an app for you.
right.
But let's say because I'm see as a curriculum developer and a content creator, especially as a content creator, I'm there everywhere. I'm there in the
Right.
design field, I'm there in the writing field, I'm there in the social media field. If I have to think of myself as a designer designing an app, AI can actually be my friend because it's taking care of 90% of the time I spend actually making the codes and making the app.
Absolutely.
Now, what a person, AI is just replacing that one bit, which takes up a lot of time.
Hmm.
What I still hold is that something that AI can't do is whom am I making that app for? The person whom I'm making the app for, what field does that person want in the app? What should be highlighted? What should not be highlighted? What should be the color scheme? What color scheme will give what kind of emotion out? What do I want people to feel when they look at the app? What should be the user experience, and how can I best, facilitate the user experience? Is still something that I will have to think of. So my thinking skills is something that I need. Emotional connect is something that I need. Reasoning skills, decision making is something that I need. Basic understanding of human nature, human behavior, user experience. What is an experience? These are the basic things that I will need to have an idea of to make an app even with AI.
Hmm.
So when you look at it, it is just that one technical bit for which coders take a lot of time. That I respect the job a lot of creating an app. I tried it. That is one thing which I really couldn't get deeper into because it does take a lot of effort and work and time, which I at that time didn't have because I was doing multiple things. But now, if somebody knows how to do it with AI, they can spend so much time working on the creative part, probably not
Creative
the
part.
technical part.
Yes.
AI will do the technical part for you, but everything else, which is actually making it and getting that app into life, is something a person can work on.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
those skills is what will be required.
Yeah, so that's again a very important thing. What also understood, I'll just go back to one of your, when you were answering, you mentioned about customized contents. When I think about it, I see that, every human being learns differently. There is no one fit, all. There's nothing called that kind of a setup here. So if I think of that, there can be n number of professionals required to actually tailor the content to a specialized and customized in a customized way. So that gives a lot of options. So I mean, that's if you talk about future careers, I think this is one aspect which I think probably you is probably talking from that point of view, personalized. But then now coming to one important question from there only, like if a child is there, usually we say that it's a parent who is more concerned about a child, because of course because of the attachment he has and because of whatever love, so-called love and other things. Will will the education, the customized education, will that somehow replace parents here? Or I'm not able to understand that. There is a balance which I want to understand from you.
Nothing in this world can replace a parent.
Right.
It's as part of somebody who's a Gurukulam educator, um, parenting is education. Especially till a child hits teenage, whatever the parent learns, teaches, and believes is what the child picks up.
Right.
Especially when it comes to life, an attitude towards life is something only a parent can give to a child. So, no educator, no mentor, no curriculum can replace a parent.
Hmm.
But what educators, mentors, or a customized curriculum can do is nurture and harness what the child is getting from the parent the best. So, whatever as parents you want to provide to your child, through a customized curriculum, you can provide it better.
Right.
So, the intention of the parent can be picked up by a content creator and customized for as per the child's energy, and we can create a curriculum out of it.
Wow.
So, it is not replacing the parent, but it is partnering with the parent.
Partnering with the parent. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear. I mean, it's really sounds very, offbeat to me. It's not how a conventional system works. It's not how I would or anyone would have thought, that an education can be made into or customized into. So I wanted to understand one thing here, that one important thing is the curriculum education puts you more in touch with the human side of things. You're not talking about the external. You are in touch with the internal. So, are you saying that more we understand the internal mechanism, the internal, about myself as such, you understand the world around you, you are a better learner? Is that what you're trying to say here?
Is also that also plays a part. I'll give you an example of there is something which I think people who are working in corporates and multinational companies will really relate to. When
Right,
you're working with a team of people who are all from different cultural backgrounds,
right,
you work your best when you are more rooted to your own cultural identity. So when you know what your culture is, why your culture is the way you are, how you are rooted with your culture is when you can best understand the other person because you have a reference point now.
right,
Your culture is your reference point, and now referring to your culture, you will know what is different to this person. How
right.
I view it this way, how is this person viewing it? I view it this way, how does this person view it? So that comes
Hmm.
across much better when you know who you are. I'm going to give a very one simple example. My mother tongue is Hindi.
Hmm.
I'm a Hindi speaker. I'm most comfortable in Hindi. English, I understood it from the time I'm young. I only started speaking English when I was 15. That also because, as an educator and somebody who has to work, English is something I picked up to speak. But I'm comfortable making mistakes in English or goofing up in English or doing. I'm okay with not knowing English fully because I know I'm not an English speaker, I'm a Hindi speaker.
Hmm.
I'm comfortable being a Hindi speaker. That's why I'm comfortable learning language, that a foreign language like English, making mistakes in English. It's like if I'm being a South Indian, if tomorrow my Gujarati friends call me for Garba, which is a traditional dance of Gujarat, I will go in very much knowing that I don't know Garba.
Right,
So whatever I do there, it's part of a learning experience for me. It's not coming and hitting my identity. Oh my God, I don't know Garba. I'm good for nothing. I can't do anything. I can't dance. Those inferiority complexes, it doesn't come and hit me because I know who I am. I'm a South Indian who's not exposed to Garba. Similarly, I'm somebody who's been brought up in Hindi. So English is new to me. I know who I am. I become confident with what I don't know, what I can know more, and who the other person is.
Right.
Expand that to cultural concepts. If you know your culture fully and if you're rooted to it, you will know what you don't know. There are some cultural things that you will know. When I went to Malaysia, there were many things that I was learning about their culture, how they eat, how they speak. Because I was so rooted with what my culture is, I could understand where they are coming from, what could be different about their thought processes, their thinking. And I could appreciate the difference and I could celebrate the difference with them. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like I didn't get into any peer pressure or social pressure to talk like them or be like them. For when I go into these corporate training setups or corporate setups where they eat with fork and spoon, it's something that I'm still learning. But not knowing that doesn't come and hit my identity. So when somebody is really rooted to themselves as a person, if you're rooted to you being a human being, everything else doesn't come and hit you as bad. It because you celebrate it. A child goes out when a child is educated with self knowledge, they go out into the world with an attitude of celebration. You're going to a party. The world is not a place waiting to put you down. It's a place waiting to show you 1,000 things you probably would have not seen. And
Right.
it's a party you are going for. So everywhere you go, you will learn something new. Probably you will teach something new because somebody else doesn't know what you know. And that's the part you walk into. So that's what I'm trying to say when I say being rooted to the self really helps somebody express later on in life.
Hmm.
And everything is a fractal. How a human body runs, how a human one a unit of a family, how it runs is how probably a society runs. It makes up a society. Society makes up a country. Country makes
Country.
up all the countries and continents together. So if you know yourself the best, you will understand the family setup, you will understand the societal setup, you will understand the country setup, and you will be able to learn. Baki, it's knowledge. Rest of it is knowledge. How well do you
Knowledge.
know foreign trades and interests? How well do you know international relationships? If you know your own relationship with yourself, you will be able to relate with why things happen in the international relationships the way it does.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Superb. There's a there's an interesting comment by Mr. Jitendra Goyal. He says, "Thank you for recognizing that there are South Indians Hindi speakers." Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Jitendra ji. Yes.
Yes,
So
I'm a
there's
South Indian, but I identify if I have to really pick North India or South India, I'm a South Indian, but I'm a Hindi speaker. I'm very proud. I'm very proud about the fact that I know Hindi, and I'm happy with myself. Yeah.
okay, Raiva. Here, there's I don't see many people taking part in the questionnaires here. I would encourage people to put questions in the chat. While I go about putting my own questions here in front of Raiva. I have one question in mind which might put you in spot. So I'm just warning you ahead. So yeah, my question is about creativity because you mentioned quite a lot about creative processes and the way you are attracted to anything which is art and creativity. In the present day and age, if you see AI, you know, you take any AI app, they are targeting the creative aspects left and right. You see, there are AI in video editing, there are AI in audio editing, there are AI which are manipulating the artistic forms, the drawings, the sketches, and everything. I mean, what is that aspect they're trying to do? Why are they attacking? Not attacking, it's not the right word probably. Why is the AI game started with the creative arts itself? Why not it's started with other forms where they could have easily done it probably. The monotonous parts. Creative part is the part which is the non-monotonous thing. I wanted to understand that. What is your take on it, rather than understanding?
My take on this is if you notice in the last 5 years, design industry really boomed a lot.
Yeah,
Design schools came up, design courses came up, and as overpopulated the engineering field is, it was becoming as overpopulated here. It's really because when I was picking a college, right, for to pursue my academics in the side alongside the work I do, it was either architecture, but architecture required a lot of maths. And I
right,
am very good with mathematical thinking, but I have really not practiced calculations that well. So I didn't
right,
take up architecture. And then the two fields that I had to choose from was psychology or design.
right,
So at that time, when I went into the research, right, it is really populated. It is super populated, and everybody requires it. because everybody
Yeah.
is on social media. See, before design requirements was for product design, it was for advertisements, it was for newspaper. Now it's for everything. Even a
Hmm.
person who wants to send out Diwali party invitation is using Canva.
Yeah.
So design has become a everyday aspect of our lives. So
Hmm.
it was an easy thing to catch on to begin with.
Yeah.
Individuals, business owners, companies, everybody needs a designer.
Right.
So I feel it was, and also a lot of time and energy was going into it. To make one image, if not for Canva, Photoshop took a lot of time. Canva made it easier. So what
Easier.
next? Now AI is making it easier.
Even more easier.
As
Yeah, I
as
think
a
that's a
curriculum developer and a content creator, it's really helped me.
yes.
Otherwise, five of my team members are busy making designs and are busy aligning documents. Now I allocate one team member and they do it. So it's
Uh,
saving a lot of time and energy. But still, it doesn't replace the fact that I need somebody to think of this design, write the right prompt, and check whether the designs are giving the right feel.
yes.
So we are doing what only we can do. The rest of it is getting outsourced.
Yeah, so you can focus more on the creative aspect and the where a human factor is involved. You can concentrate more over there rather than spending time on the things which can easily be done by an AI or any other assistant. It's like an assistant which is working for you. Probably that also is the reason why you told, right? You said in a little while ago that when you are choosing between design and psychology, the design field was already overcrowded. Why not psychology? So that is a clear answer there that it's very difficult
Overcrowded.
for AI to
It,
go
it
there.
was overcrowded. Also, I knew I'm taking a degree just to take the degree. I'm already working. I'm already doing everything that I want to do. So degree was just something I was doing on the side. So design demanded a lot of time.
Right,
Like how comfortably I'm doing psychology in distance and also working, I wouldn't be able to do that with design. And I don't
right.
want to be unfair to a course I take up. That's why the psychology, but I'm still in touch with the design field because my work day to day requires that.
Requires that,
Is
yes.
it unfair? It is a little like I do feel sad for people who have really worked hard, taken the degree, and now they feel AI is replacing them. But I feel if they learn how to use AI as a friend, they will be really powerful. It will keep you
Powerful, yeah.
opportunities and challenges. They always come together.
Right. So yeah, one person has put up a question. How can we reach for further queries? It would be very helpful to know. Would you like
I
to
think they
answer
can
that?
get in touch with. Yeah, they can. You can get in touch with either Leela Gurukulam or Sanatana Life Academy, and you will connect both the organizations I work with. So we can connect via those mediums.
Yeah. Someone called Sneha has asked, thanks, Raiva, for your talk today. Can an adult who is in the teaching field for 10 years now become an edupreneur and curriculum developer if it interests them? If yes, how? Did you hear me, Raiva?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Curriculum development and becoming an edupreneur is something anybody can do anytime. And if a person is already in that field, then also definitely yes. It will have to be the how part will really have to be customized for that person, I feel, based on where they stand, what they already do, because it will really differ. Do you want to become an edupreneur and curriculum developer for corporates or for children or for special needs children? And based on that, there are many ways to do it. There are courses available, there are trainings available, there are opportunities available. If you have the interest and need for it, I think definitely yes, anybody can do it.
I hope that answers Snehaji.
Yeah.
I think by this time we are at the end of the interview, but then I wanted to always ask a question. I was not finding a place to fit that question. And this is like a very conventional question which I've been asking everyone. I know all the people, all the guests till now. I still would want to ask this question. Okay, let's see where it fits and how, and what's your take on that question. The question is, actually, if someone is already in a job, I would have asked them, you are doing this. How does a day in your profession looks like. I actually wanted to ask you that combined with how does a day in the Gurukul looks like?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
More than me, I think for any entrepreneur, every day is different. Every day there's something new that comes about. Every day there's something new you're working on. Every day there's some new people you're talking to. So giving a common routine is difficult. However, I can break it down. It's a mix of time alone where I'm making content, and then meetings where I'm working with my other mentors and other curriculum developers and content creators where we are planning out a program or a structure, talking to parents, talking to children. I don't go every day to the Gurukulam to give classes to the children at the Gurukulam, but whenever I do, I have my sessions. I'm more of a workshop kind of a mentor. There'll be 5 days, I go in a row and come back. So that occasionally, whenever it comes up, that's a part of it. Constant learning, be it learning about new technology that's come up that can help in the educational field. So that's what my day typically consists of. And classes, other I'm still a learner. So I still have my own classes and my learning journey going on the side. I am blessed that I am working with the same people I grew up with and I learned with. So, and my team. So basically, my home is an environment which facilitates learning. My workspace is an environment that facilitates learning. And my work is also some place where facilitation of learning takes place. I'm blessed that way. There is working with my own friends and siblings comes with a lot of ups and downs where there are our own, little irritation and fights that happen. But throughout the day, having that one snack together or having that one lunch together is a very significant and huge part of my day. And what does a typical day in the Gurukulam look like? I want to ask you whether you're talking about what it looked like as in for my Gurukulam or what it looks like for the Gurukulam that I'm
Yes.
running.
What curriculum
There's
you are into? Sopanika.
Saupanika Gurukulam. So a
Yes.
typical day, again, it was different every day, but I'll group the days together. There were
Yeah.
days initially in the starting where probably for an adult mind, we did nothing. Absolutely nothing. There were few days where we did like we were just sitting together, bunch of 5 teenagers, a bunch of 10 teenagers. We were just doing our own thing. And then there were some days where classes were happening, very serious classes, which even our Samavartana children now who are in this age of 13 to 16, where the only thing that they do is listen to the class, reflect on the class, basic things, have their food, go to sleep. So we are completely immersed in the topic of whatever the class was about. Those are intense days. We were in no contact with the outside world. Even with our parents, there was no contact. We were just within ourselves. Even with each other, we used to not talk. I'll listen to the class. If there is any class project for which we need to talk, we'll talk. Otherwise, I'm on my own reflections. There are days, festival days, where we are completely immersed in the festival celebration or the puja. So there, it's all colorful. We are only making the laddu. We are only doing the decoration. We are only the ones celebrating at the end of it. We are only cleaning up. That is what it was filled with. And then there were days where, and this was the biggest part was us playing games, be it board
Mm.
games, be it card games, be it involving in art, be it just helping out in projects. That took up a huge part. That was there almost part of all the days where we are all playing together, learning, playing, learning, growing, having everything that a game gets right. While playing a game, all emotions come about. Happiness, sadness, excitement, anger, all of it comes about. So that is something we engaged in a lot. And then there were, as part of our Gurukulam journey, co-mentoring or student mentorship was also part of it. So there were days where we were at the Gurukulam teaching the junior children.
Wow.
So that's
It
what
feels
our Gurukulam days looked like.
it feels so holistic. That was the word I would want to use here. It feels so holistic here. And Raiva, I think 1 hour is not enough while I'm conversing with you. We need definitely a lot of
There's this,
more sessions like this. Yeah, please tell me, Raiva.
there's one significant part which I forgot. There were days in our Gurukulam, and this also happens at Leela Gurukulam, where Sadhvi goes to. There are
Yeah.
days where if any one of us have felt disturbed about something, if I probably felt disturbed about something, or not even disturbed, sometimes I'll have some reflection about myself or something happening around me going on. We take off whatever activity was planned for that day, it all halts, and we really go deep and discuss about it, which I
Right.
think is a huge privilege that we all had. Just because as we grow, as we get busy, I think that's not there as much as it was there before. It could be as small as, this happened and I'm just feeling off about it. I don't know why. Then our gurus and the entire group, we all sit together, we get deep into it. Why this could be happening? What are my patterns? Why, how usually human grows, and when human being grows, these things are quite normal, or why this could be happening. Those days were, I think, the most precious and the most special days of the Gurukulam, because there could be a whole event planned, there could be meetings planned, our mentors have our own tasks, their own tasks to do, they halt everything, and we also halt what we are doing, and we really focus on that one situation that's come up, similar to what we do with children. My brother, he speaks every day at least 1 hour with one child to know what's happening in their life, what's going on, because that's very much part of the education. Yeah, so that one thing
Amazing.
I felt I should share.
Amazing. That even more, that what do you say? Even more the word now that holistic, it fits even more apt into this now. And yeah, one last question before we actually close. Okay, this is by someone called Arya. How can we connect with you for individual guidance? That already has been answered. You can always connect with the. Okay, this is talking about individual guidance.
I personally do not give individual guidance as such, but if you would want to know more about the work I do, we can definitely connect through either, again, Leela Gurukulam or through Sanatana Life's Academy's contact. We could do that.
Okay, and
And I
one more
think Golji
question.
has asked,
Yes. Have you
yeah,
included
have you
student
included
mentorship
student
in Lila
mentorship?
Gurukulam?
Yes, we have. Teaching is a huge part of learning. It's the best way of learning. So we couldn't remove that from Leela Gurukulam. All our children are part of a project called Teach to Learn, where they create content for first generation school goers, gamified content. So that's how we have introduced student mentorship at Leela Gurukulam. All the children actively work in creating content and curriculum for first generation school goers, specifically for Karnataka state syllabus as of now, to start, because these children need not become curriculum developers. That's not the aim. We are trying to facilitate the
Yeah.
process of teaching and learning in them. So as a project to start off with, that's what they're working on now.
So, I hope that answers Jitendraji's question. And with this, I think we have already exceeded 1 hour of time. We would close this interview now, and I hope everyone enjoyed it, had a good time. I personally did. I wanted to ask a lot of other things, but I was carried away by a lot of the fascinating terms which I heard while the interview was on. And thank you, Raiva. Thanks for your time here, and thank you, people who have joined. Thank you so much. Loved every part of this interview very much. Thank you.
Sharatji.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.